Previously on Wine Wars.
Like, the longer we sit here, it's almost like the less I know. And I'm starting from a place of no knowledge. Larry Bird played basketball. I don't know if I have a good feeling about this.
That's a good way to start.
Wine Wars, the show with four friends who love three things: wine and Star Wars.
Welcome to Wine Wars. You're joining the four of us as we sniff, sip, and talk about wine live from our basement in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm your excellent host and spectator, and with me as always are Amy.
Hey, Anne.
Hey. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, hello.
Scott.
Hello.
Sup.
Not much. How are you?
Mm-hmm. Jason.
Nope.
Great. On today's episode, Merlot.
Fucking Merlot.
Fucking Merlot.
And it's like, why didn't we already do Merlot?
I was
Just
actually
Oh, no.
I was asking myself that same thing.
somebody else asked me that same thing today.
Today?
Yep. At the county fair, I said, I'm doing a podcast about Merlot. And she's like an avid listener. And she goes, how come you haven't done one yet? I'm like,
Well, there's a million things to talk about
Yeah.
with wine, so.
Yeah.
And we did go off the rails slightly with other things instead of focusing on our grapes. So now back to Merlot.
Back to Merlot, which is
Yep.
really, kind of a treat.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
It's a powerhouse. It's one of the essentials. Isn't it like the third most popular wine grown in the whole world?
Third most planted grape, yeah.
Most planted grape.
Well, there
Why?
you go.
Why?
Because it's
Strong.
oh, yeah.
Strong like bull.
Strong
like
like
what?
bull.
Bull.
What is that from?
It's from the
It's a thing.
it's from the movie with the Ben Stiller and the Cameron Diaz.
The Benz.
Oh, I did not like that movie.
What are you talking about?
There's something about Mary.
Oh, okay.
Strong like bull.
With Brett Favre's in that.
Yeah. Brett Favre.
Go pick.
Go Packers.
Go pick.
So, yeah, Merlot
Merlot.
from Bordeaux, France, where it's most popular.
I feel like you're saying it like I'm supposed to repeat it.
No?
Just go with it.
I was having a
But-
conversation,
but
but you
no.
looked away, so I was a little confused.
Well, I was going to talk about my feelings before we talked about the grape.
Why would the hell would we talk about your feelings during our wine podcast?
If there's one thing I know, we can't fix it.
That's right. You just shut up and you listen.
Yeah, we
Okay.
cannot fix this in post.
All right, we'll put some sad music behind this. Go.
Well, I just was going to say that today is my A high school reunion. I'm not going to name the number.
5.
Okay, let's say 5.
Let's just go with 5 on
So
that.
that's happening far, far away from here. And I'm just feeling like old and pathetic. So I have Merlot to keep me company.
Wine will cheer you up. Wine makes
It
everything
does every
better.
night. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, is that showing on my face or anything? Yeah, I can't
No, your
tell.
face looks great.
Addicting.
It's all the almond oil.
This is true. I do a lot of almond oil.
You eat really well, and you don't
lot of
eat a lot
chocolate.
of dairy, and you don't smoke,
Because my ass.
and you don't tan.
Yeah.
That's a
And
personal choice.
that's just genetics.
You got it going on, lady. I don't know why you're
This
so
is not why I'm
worried.
saying this, but I did want to say that. So there's been all this hoopla on the Facebook about the high school reunion, and I told Jason that I don't recognize anybody from their current photo.
But that's
B.
because, as we've discussed, Anne has the Brad Pitt syndrome, where she doesn't
Right,
recognize
she doesn't recognize faces. And everyone's 5 years older.
5 years. They're 5 years
Yeah.
older. So
And you do age significantly.
They
in
got
5
the
years.
freshman 15 on there.
There's been air quotes every time we said 5.
Oh yeah,
That's
our
right.
listeners can't see the
but
air
wait,
quotes.
there's more.
Okay.
Because I also don't recognize anybody's name at
Oh.
all.
Are you sure that you're looking at the right page for the right reunion?
Then
Could
they
be the wrong
started
year.
posting pictures from high school,
And then
I
here's the news flash.
didn't recognize anybody's face from then. And then the latest this week was I didn't recognize the building the photos were taken in. Like, I didn't recognize the high school itself.
Is this a body snatchers thing? What's going on
So
here?
I actually emailed some old friends from high school to be like, can you just confirm that I was there? Because I feel like I'm in like a sci-fi or something. What
Right.
is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And they're all talking to each other like they still hang
Remember
out
this
and know
stuff?
each other or spent 4 years together having fun. And I'm just can't remember it.
Did they respond to you, or did they, like, you don't exist to them?
You're like, I'm sorry, who is this?
Yeah.
I think you got the wrong email.
And no, never heard of you.
No.
So
Are you
what
sure your
happened?
last
What's
name
going
is
on?
Spectator.
So what's with the school? You don't recognize the school? I mean, to be fair, 5 years is a long time. Your memory can fade a bit.
Yeah.
And it's been a wine-soaked 5 years.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just a warning to listeners. But maybe it's also sort of like
Well,
a
maybe
good
it's,
tip if you don't want to remember high school.
maybe it's post-traumatic stress
You should
syndrome.
start listening to the Wine Wars
Disorder.
podcast.
I liked high school and I have good memories, but I don't have those memories of those people in that school.
Those faces or that school.
Yeah.
So I have a theory here.
Okay.
Did you graduate 1 year above or below these
Yourself?
people, and they are not people from your class?
No, this is my class. This is my graduating class.
And it's not like, when I graduated high school, I graduated with 850 in my grade.
Oh, wow.
And you being in Alaska, there's probably like 850 just in your school.
It actually was the biggest school, but there were sort of 500 in my class.
Oh, that's
pretty
pretty
big.
It was big. And then actually today I was hanging, like watching some of what was going on. Like, oh, I do remember some of these people. And so maybe it just makes sense that you just aren't going to remember 500 people. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, been feeling my age a bit. And so my attitude and approach to this podcast might reflect that this week. That's where I was
Good.
going with this. Is I might
Well,
be drinking more
What she's
like
saying
medicinally.
is the lack of preparation.
Oh, and also too, I did no prep.
She got preparation F.
I
Oh,
get
that
it.
was a good one, babe.
That's what I'm looking for.
He's been waiting for that all week.
I knew that we were going to get to preparation somehow.
And now a pen fell down.
Hey,
just gone
Scott,
to
is
hell.
there anything you want to tell us about this grape?
So Merlot, as you know, Anne of 5 years now graduating high school. So you just graduated college then, I would assume, right?
That's right. I'm a
And-
big co-ed.
Go ahead.
It's the world's most popular wine.
True.
Yeah.
From Bordeaux, France, the known for on the East Bank. Your West Bank is essentially the
Right
Merlot
bank.
counter.
The right bank.
That East is right to me because
But-
that's a spatial thing in my brain. Right bank.
Well,
It's accurate.
It is East
Yeah.
Bank, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we're both right, I guess. All right.
They just always say right bank, left bank. It's a thing that
right.
they do.
Either way, counterpart is being Cabernet Sauvignon. Actually, did a little research because I did do some
Hey,
prep.
good for you.
Thank you.
what? Scott the wine nerd did research?
For a podcast on wine?
But Merlot, so we've previously talked about when we were talking about our Cabernet Sauvignon episode is the child of Cab Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. Merlot is actually also the child of Cab Franc. Cab Franc is the father grape, and then the mother grape is an unknown. It's an unnamed variety that was found in Brittany.
Brittany.
Yeah,
What the hell is Brittany?
the country of Brittany.
The Brittany Murphy?
No, the region of France that is northwest France where it has oysters.
Oh, there you go.
I'm guessing it's spelled Brittony.
A-N-Y.
Oh, like a Brittany Spaniel.
Or a Spears. So yeah,
No, Brittany Spears is not spelled like that.
No, it is. Why are we
Brittany? Or I thought it was Brittany.
A-N-Y.
Oh.
like a Spears?
I stand corrected, Miss Spears.
Yeah, I did research. Then it's also half siblings with Carmenere and Malbec, and
That all makes
Cab
sense.
Sauvignon. So it's a
You
big,
get those.
big family right
Yep.
up in that Bordeaux region. So naturally, we're not talking about Bordeaux today.
No.
So we're actually, by happenstance, we're going into Napa Valley or Napa Valley, if you want to sound like a tool. Say Napa.
Napa Valley.
Never heard that.
I never heard it till
Whenever
you
you're
said
in
it.
Napa, they always say Napa. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the
Oh my
thing.
God.
I've never been, so
Nobody.
Oh, you have to go to Napa.
Nobody.
Napa Valley.
Everybody just turn this podcast off right now.
your
And
pronunciation is a faux pas.
Napa.
it rhymes with Napa. So
But I think that the big thing is there's a major hatred towards Merlot from the movie
Sideways.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Because I have feelings about this. Mm-hmm. We actually watched the movie Sideways last night.
You watched it last night.
Well,
did?
I'm going to take that back. We watched half of it and then I fell asleep.
It was a movie, so naturally.
So-
It's what I do. If anybody doesn't know, I tend to fall asleep in movies.
have you been hanging out with my wife, Anne?
I'll fall asleep at home. I'll fall asleep at a theater.
Hang on. Did you fall asleep at Magic Mike XXL or whatever it is?
No, we did not. I
No,
can confirm that.
I was wide awake for
we
all
were
of
just
that.
fine. We did just fine.
In fact, I was so awake that I stayed for like 45 minutes after the movie ended just talking about the movie.
To yourself?
No, with friends.
I found a homeless lady. I got to tell you about this.
But
There's this guy. His name's Mike, and he's the best musician
He's
or magician.
welding, right?
Musician.
he pulled a rabbit out of you will not believe where. No. But no,
This podcast is gross.
I know. It's like we talk about sex and things.
Ew.
But wine leads to sex. So
Statistically.
Or a nap. Sometimes I get really sleepy.
Wine
Yeah.
leading to sleepy time.
So I'm kind of curious to know like what the percentage, what the drop in sales for Merlot was as a result of this movie, whether you can directly prove it or not, just like looking at a time frame.
So the sales for Merlot kicked off in a big way in the 90s.
Right.
And then
That's when it got really
peaked
big.
in 2004. And then the movie was released in 2004, and then it just dipped. I think it was like a 20%.
And people know what we're talking about, right? Because in the movie, he says,
I'm not drinking any fucking Merlot.
Right. And so I watched this movie, and granted, it's
Half of it.
2015. I got to the part where he said the line.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, like, I guess the thing that blew me away is that it was so unfortunate that the sales dropped because of what some sad, depressed little man, just like desperate for his ex-wife who remarried somebody else and is living happily ever after. And he's like this flailing wannabe novelist. And we're really going to like listen to that line and try to emulate that guy? Like, no, we should be like partying like his friend.
Look, it just goes to show that everybody, nobody knows everything about wine. So you watch a movie like Sideways and it can have that sort of impact on you just
Right.
from one line.
Right. Because the whole the whole film is, well, not the whole film,
The first
but,
half of it.
Okay, right. The first half that I saw features Paul Giamatti's character just like going on and on about how intelligent he is about wine and talking about wine. And I'm so well versed in wine and I know all these nuances. And then, but I don't want to drink another fucking Merlot. And it's just like,
So
but there's nothing else that's likable about this guy. Like, why would you want to emulate anything about him?
we'll watch the last half of it at some point. He kind of redeems himself a bit, but yeah, he's battling depression and so on and so forth. But the funny thing is, so he has that prized bottle, the 61 whatever Cheval
Right.
Blanc or something like.
Yeah. Something like that.
Near the end of the movie, he eventually drinks it,
Right.
and that is a Merlot-based
This
Bordeaux
is
blend.
Spoiler alert, man.
Spoiler alert from 11 years ago. They don't say it in the movie, but it's a Merlot-based Bordeaux blend of Merlot and Cab Franc, both grapes that he rips on in the movie.
Well, then I feel like they should have George Lucas that shit and then redone the ending to specify this is a Bordeaux-based or Merlot-based blend.
I wonder if they did that to be ironic.
I would think
I
they
don't
had
know.
to. How could you write that movie and
Well,
not
it could be a
know
total
that information?
It could be a total gaffe. Just someone didn't know that. And
Yeah, somebody was just
he
like,
could
I
have
want
improv
something
that line,
expensive.
right?
I think that the fact that Merlot sales dropped off so much because of that movie is kind of a lesson to us all that we took its advice because it speaks authoritatively about wine. You don't know a lot about it, so you're watching a movie and it says Merlot sucks, and then we all just internalize it because it's like, I don't know.
And this guy knows his shit.
And he knows, yeah.
Well, he seems to
really
know.
knows his wine, and he hates it, so now I hate it, and I'm going to stop buying it. It's clearly what everybody did. But it's
This
a really,
actor knows his wine.
Right.
but it's a really good lesson about don't judge it. Don't judge wine until you actually try it. Like, don't take our advice. Try it, make your own opinion.
Yeah, otherwise you are at risk of sounding like a tool.
It's another situation of not blaming the grape because there are bad Merlots out there, and there are amazing Merlots out there. And I think we're drinking 3 really good Merlots tonight. And but to the point, we were in Napa in 2007, and they were instantly feeling the hurt. And like we were talking, it's one of the most widely planted grapes in California. So when you stop selling Merlot, it can have serious impact on what you do as a business.
Right. Now, hey, does it age well? Is all that unpurchased Merlot at least sitting around getting better?
Merlot, so
Not
it's
at
not
California.
it's not as full-bodied as your Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a little bit more lighter, so it doesn't age as well as a Cabernet. That's why it's typically blended with Cab Franc or something like that to build the structure to it. So like we have a 2004 that will be our second or third wine we'll talk about, and you can tell it's peaked or peaking, and you need to get to those pretty soon.
Oh my God, 2004 is when Sideways came out.
True.
That's why it's still sitting on the shelf.
Because you haven't trusted it. I will say, so 2004, I was 21, just of drinking age.
Millennial.
Sick of your shit. I swear to God.
God.
We can talk about you again in a minute. Don't worry.
Don't worry, soon. Back to your
But
story.
I was right at that age where I was like, oh, okay, well, Merlot sucks. So and I had a buddy or a guy I was in a band with. He was like, that's only funny if you drink wine. It's really true. And it's like, well, okay. Looking back, they didn't know what the fuck they were talking
They
about.
were just being
Douchebag.
fucking
Yeah.
tools.
Right.
Yep.
And so
Look, I
for
don't
the
want to
longest,
think. I want Paul Giamatti to think for me.
yeah. So for the longest time, I didn't really get into Merlots, and we've had over the last few years from Wine Maniacs, Jeff Cox, there, the head wine guy, has poured us some great stuff. That's like, oh yeah, that's definitely a kick-ass grape, and
Yeah.
especially
It's a grape.
yeah. I mean, come
You're
on.
going to make it good or you're going to make it bad.
Well, it's
It just
exactly
got
like
thrown under the bus in Hollywood, and one line.
But here's another part of it. So there's a lot of production of this grape. So you're going to have more of it left over. So you're going to make probably cheaper wines, like fruit, like supermarket slammers that
Yeah.
are. So people are probably buying it and then they're like, yeah, this does suck.
I will say that I will not buy a Merlot from the grocery store. Like the $12 Merlot, it's not.
Yeah.
I think you need to pay a little more for a good Merlot. A little more.
So-
That's kind of true of Pinot also. Basically, if you're 12 or under, just go to Cab or Chard. That's what I always say.
you could probably get it like a pretty good Sangiovese, Chiantis, or something like that in that price range as well. But
Can you really ever get a good Chianti?
we'll
maybe
do a
that's a
Chianti-
podcast.
we'll do a Chianti
Boom.
app.
Just boom.
Hey, it's Sangiovese, just like your Brunello. So
Oh my God, Brunello.
calm down. All right. Well, let's
Wine fight.
wine fight. So let's jump into the first bottle here. All right. So this is a Charles Krug, Krug, and this is a 2011. So this is so Charles Krug was who pioneered and founded this winery back in 1861.
Wow.
Way in the way. Is that right? Oh no, excuse me. Hang on. Let me reset that there. So this
King
is when
Charles.
Do your clap.
P.S. I've always heard it said Charles Krug.
Krug. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what the state representative is, Krug.
Now I can't say my joke.
Aww.
Charles Krug. More like Charles Glug. It's not funny. Glug. That just sounds gross.
But this is on the bottle. It talks about this 150th anniversary. So the winery was established in 1861. But Charles became
That's around when I graduated from high school.
No wonder you're depressed.
Quote
Right?
unquote.
I mean,
5 years
not
ago.
that you are.
Chocolate.
so interesting story with this winery. The founder Charles Krug, right? Not Krug. Krug.
Krug.
Yeah, was a Prussian immigrant. Came over in the mid 1800s. He was a member of an intellectual society in Prussia, vying for the unification of Germany and freedom of speech and human rights and things like that. But he got thrown in jail for like 9 months, and then after he got out of jail, he was exiled and came over to the U.S. and eventually found his way to California and got into the wine business. And then through the years, kind of built up this reputation for his winery. And then upon his death, it was handed over to Caesar Mondavi. And then Robert, his son, took it from there. And then Robert's other brother, Peter, now took it over from there. So it kind of is in this very well-known family in the Napa
And
Valley
Peter
region.
and Robert weren't BFs.
They got into a feud for a while. I think like in the late 90s or something
Was
like
it
that.
over a woman?
I don't know. Couldn't find out.
Was Louis Anderson hosting?
I'm Louis Anderson. Welcome to the Mondavi family feud.
I got the joke at the end.
There it is.
Yeah, got it.
So that's kind of the history of this winery. And oh, yes, but the Mondavi, they eventually reconciled in 2005, I believe is what I found. But
That's a long time.
Robert passed in 2008 at the age of 94. So very, very...
I was just going to say,
well
life's
lived.
short.
Did he go to high school
Be
with you?
friendly with your family, but it's not really that short if you lived in 94.
94 is
You
a
can
good,
afford
good
to
age.
fight for a while.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Take a decade off. So, so that's that. So this wine, so 2011 is what we have here, and which is actually a cooler year in the Napa Valley region. So the harvest was almost a whole month later than usual because it was a lot cooler season. So the grapes weren't ripening, and actually I think that's why I kind of like this a little bit better. It's a little bit more acidic. So a lot of times with California, they'll let their grapes get super sugary, so you get really high
harvest
alcohol.
them really late
Right.
when they're all sugar bombs.
Right. I think that's why I like this one quite a bit, because it's not that your typical California just
Sugar bomb.
jam and sugar and fruit all up in your face. There's a lot going on here. I got a lot of smokiness. There's like a spicy clove to this as well, and almond and vanilla. I think you got a lot going on here. So
I
Got
get
a
like
nice
a-
long finish to it.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said clove because I got like orange juice concentrate.
oh sure.
And in general, kind of a fall, autumn notes and tastes, which I think of oranges and
Yeah, it
clove that
reminds
way,
me
too.
of potpourri.
Potpourri?
Potpourri, like what my
Like
mom would make.
Potpourri.
Like kind of a dried floral
Right.
spice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It has a lot of structure to it, which maybe is what you're getting at with the cooler season.
Right. So yeah, this one came out as a 14% alcohol instead of typically they do like 15. So because of less sugars, it's lower alcohol, which allows other flavors to come through the place. So this is not 100% Merlot though. So this is essentially a Bordeaux blend style. So it's 84% Merlot, 8 Cab Sauv, 4 Petit Syrah, 3 Malbec, and 1% Petit Verdot.
Oh.
So you get
Yeah, it is a Bordeaux blend.
Maybe that's what the...
Yeah, because it definitely doesn't taste. There's two things about this that don't seem authentically Merlot. It's not velvety feeling. It's not like a soft mouthfeel. It's way brighter and it's way
It's got a lot more zip. Like
Zip,
almost
yeah.
like a gentle pepper.
yeah.
You know, like a soft white pepper or
That
something.
makes more... Yeah.
That's
Petit
what
Verdot,
I'm
perhaps the structure, the bite,
It's good. The wine's really
I
good.
actually really like this.
totally round off.
And it kind of like, for me, it like filled my whole head. Like it kind of enveloped all of my senses. Like scent, taste. Like
Sight.
I feel like it was coming out my ears, like just filling my head, like smoke.
It's got a lot more ruby-ish color too.
For being younger, yeah, for being only 4 years old, it is. You got a lot of lightness on the edge of the rims of the.
Very ruby.
Wine.
I suspect it could age a little longer,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that might round it out too.
Mm-hmm.
it's good though. And what's the price tag?
24, which is about what you can find online. It goes for about $24 for this bottle.
Is it pretty readily available?
So I got this at the tasting room over on Monona. The guy Brant, I believe his name was, something like that. I went in there and said I'm looking for Merlot based something from California, and they had something like $10-12, and he's like, no, you taste the extra $10 when you buy this $24 bottle of wine. So,
Good man.
Yeah.
So Charles Krug, 2011, $24, Merlot blend.
Yeah, and like you said, Merlot is typically going to be a little bit, probably 20 plus, right?
For a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it has I think that sort of empty feeling and no aftertaste. It doesn't have that round.
Just very flat and one-dimensional.
yeah.
Like, you're not going to remember it the next day. And it's not because you drank so much. It's because there wasn't really anything to it.
that's what I want to tell listeners. This was my goal with the Merlot episode, was that when you have a good Merlot, then the defining signature qualities of it are this roundness and velvetyness and this deep berry flavors, deep dark fruits, that you're just not going to get out of a $12 bottle.
Right. You're going to get like grape juice that's going to get you drunk if you drink enough of it. And then you're going to feel it the next
And
day.
you're going to feel it.
You're going to feel it.
I'm kind of sad that all of the wines that we have here tonight are all over a $20 Merlot budget.
Because it makes it seem a little less attainable.
Yeah, and it would have been fun to have found one that was like, oh, this is a really great $12 Merlot. So that's a boo on our part.
Well,
I'll
let's
put that on
challenge
my
our
to-do list.
challenge our listeners. Go out and find one that we should consider. I would love suggestions from anybody.
I'll be honest, I'm always looking for the $12 cab or the $12 Pinot. Like, I like looking for them, and I have written off Merlot in that way, and I haven't even tried in a long time. So I will get back on it.
Could we call it the $12 Merlot challenge? Hashtag $12 Merlot challenge.
Hashtag that. Done.
Give her take a buck.
Okay.
It's a really long hashtag.
That is.
Hashtag give her take a buck.
And could you please capitalize the first letter of every new word when you're doing a giant hashtag like that? Otherwise,
It just doesn't work.
doesn't work.
Well, let's move on to the second Merlot here. This is one from our cellar that we have had for a while. We purchased at the Wine Maniacs a while back, and it's a Mitch Cosentino. It's a Cosentino Legends, and
We've talked about Cosentino before.
we've talked about Cosentino before. He had taken us out to dinner one time, which was delicious, and so we do have kind of this affinity for Cosentino wines because.
Poured the wrong one.
I know. I know. Faux pas.
Here.
So this is the Cosentino Legends, and the special thing that he did a Legends series where this one was done with Larry Bird. I don't know if you know Larry Bird. He played for the Boston Celtics.
Did Larry Bird play basketball?
Basketball player.
What team did he play for, Honey Bunny?
Boston.
Boston.
Best.
Have you guys watched the Nick Kroll show?
Yes,
I'm
you know we
familiar
have.
with said show.
He does a reoccurring character of Larry Bird, and we were watching one just today that they did Chairs, and it was he basically plays the Woody Harrelson character. So he's bartending and
Nick Kroll
Wait.
plays Larry Bird playing Woody Harrelson.
the Woody Harrelson role.
Did
Yeah,
you say chairs?
yeah.
I
So it's
heard
Cheers.
chairs. Oh,
But it's
because he's got to change
okay.
everything up a bit.
He's in
to not
Boston.
Be a trademark.
Cheers.
He
Because
doesn't.
Nick Kroll is a comedic genius. He's welcome on our show at any time.
Anytime, Nick. Anytime.
You're welcome in my basement.
We'll fly you to Wisconsin.
Anytime.
You
Yeah,
can
we'll
sit
all
down
chip
here.
in and buy you the best seat the coach can buy.
And bring your sweet thing, Amy Poehler.
Oh, please.
Oh.
Please.
Seriously, now, let's get Amy Poehler and Nick
I
Kroll
know.
on
Friday
our
Night
podcast.
Whites. We should have the podcast on a Friday night. If
Why don't they ever come over?
Yeah, why
don't know.
doesn't
The
Nick Kroll
Poehlers
and
and
Amy
Krolls.
Poehler just come over?
I
We could
think
spring for
that
first class
Amy
tickets.
Poehler and I would be like best friends if we just had a chance to hang out.
somebody here's got to have like credit card points to get them a first class seat.
Somebody does.
Jesus, Sheridan.
So anyway, the Mitch Cosentino Legends is this is a 2004. It's I think it's past its.
It might be a
its
little
due
more
date.
Merlot than you need.
Yeah. Oh, it's
A little over the hump.
I do like the nose on
I
it.
don't know. It does
It's
smell
felt
great.
Yeah, it's
The smell is so good. I get like the stewed fruit kind of flavor.
It's a delicate, classy bitch.
I think we've said this before. So Cosentino has hence been, I believe, sold to somebody. So you can still buy Cosentino wines, but they're not
It's
the same
not
level
The
of this.
original Cosentino.
Yeah. And all of Cosentino's wines just, I don't know, they've got a thing to them, whether it's the vats or the winemaking style
I've
or
been
whatever.
trying to explain it for years. What is it that old time Cosentino taste? And the closest thing I can get to is what's it called if you put a tomato in the oven for a long time?
Baking a tomato.
A baked tomato.
Roast.
So
Roasted.
all his
It's a
wines
roasted
taste like
tomato.
baked tomatoes.
A roasted tomato. That was the word. I can't think of it because of all the
Drinking?
Merlot. Yeah.
Or the age.
But yeah, and
On the wine?
So this is maybe a little past, but
Yeah,
the nose
the
is
wine.
great. It's good in the face, and the only place where you can really tell it's maybe a couple of years past is the finish just doesn't keep on.
Yeah,
keeping
it
on.
kind of falls right off your face.
Yeah.
But I like it. It was good with the food, but it didn't do what you'd kind of want it to do. Tonight we had a veggie lasagna, and it
So good. Had little carrots in it, little broccoli.
Instead of ricotta,
Yep.
Yeah.
we made it with tofu.
Oh, and I never would have guessed. I really.
So that's the thing.
Tell your secret on that.
Yeah. So that's I think my mom used to do this. She would, instead of ricotta cheese, ricotta.
Instead of the
She would-
ricotta.
Yeah, she'd use tofu, and so I just put a little garlic and onions and
Did you
tofu.
do an egg?
One egg, and then mix in the broccoli and tofu with it, and you did 2 layers of the mix.
But it made it not feel heavy in your stomach.
Yeah,
Which I
think that's the biggest
love.
problem with there's the carbs of the noodles, but all that cheese,
The heaviness of the cheese.
Yeah.
Because when I heard we were doing lasagna, I was kind of like, yay, and then like, because I'm just thinking like all that
gonna be so
heavy
full.
cheese, and my tummy's
And
gonna
it's
have a
hot
big
here.
ball. Yeah, it's like 94% humidity and 95 degrees outside today, and I didn't want a big cheese ball in my stomach.
But it wasn't that. I mean, a big salad.
It wasn't that at all. So here's a secret out.
And also, one of the keys is to get your tofu extra firm.
Extra firm.
But you have to mash it all up so it looks and has the consistency of ricotta. You never know. I mean,
I
it's-
was fooled. I was totally.
Yeah, if I had not told you that, hey, pick up tofu, would you have known?
Oh, we almost had a full-blown tofu emergency. Okay, and if that's not Madison, I don't know what is. But they were out of tofu. It was a mad scramble, last-minute situation.
Like we had to go to 2 different gigantic supermarkets to find
Sound
tofu.
the alarm.
Just think of all the listener drop-off we're having right now.
Our tofu discussion. Well,
If you can't say,
They love
"Hey,
my
Wine
sweaty
Warriors,
balls."
you had me at tofu," then maybe this isn't the podcast for
first
you.
rule of the Wine Wars podcast is whatever.
That doesn't really seem like a steadfast rule.
Whatever.
Wine wars.
Whatever.
I mean, that's what they say in branding. You're going to want to have that mission statement.
Kind of a
Right.
laissez-faire. Yeah.
whatever.
Diligently
Whatever.
stick to your rules. Okay?
Or whatever.
Whatever. Whatevs.
Yeah. So anyway, this Mitch Cosentino Legends was a thing that he did with Larry Bird, probably because 2 rock stars of their craft coming together to make something special.
So do you know, is Mr. Bird way into wine? Does he?
I think he is a
has-
wino.
I think he has. Does he have his own vineyard and production as well?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
It's possible.
Yeah. Tomato.
Maybe we could get our intern Andy on that.
Andy.
Can you get on that?
All right. Should we move
Move
along?
it on.
Yeah, but I need to finish this wine.
Yeah, we're all
'cause
going to have
it's
to gulp
still-
this. Here, let's pour it in that glass over there.
Why would we ever do that?
Yeah,
Okay,
what are you gonna?
we're
we're just-
all right, just go.
Yeah, to my knowledge, the Wine Warriors have yet to dump
Spit.
wine.
We do not
We
spit.
don't spit. We
We
swallow.
swallow. Wine warriors. We spit.
Whatever.
Ah, hold on.
Whatever.
Hold on. Wait. Wine warriors. We don't spit.
We
We swallow.
Whatever.
I'm glad I got in there with you so that it sounds super weird.
Why is that not our tagline?
That's
We need to start over
We need
this
to-
entire fucking thing.
rebrand.
Brand
Sex
over.
sells. Whatever.
You're telling me that no one's come up with that as their
Maybe
as
they
their-
have.
TM. It's been TM'd, people.
Yeah, officially as of now. Scott, you're gonna have to go on Vistaprint and get us a whole new
Business card.
box set of cards.
Vistaprint. Scott, you have to go to Vistaprint in the morning and get us new cards.
It's a website. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
No, but I want you to go there on
In the
Sunday.
morning during business hours.
Yeah, and your budget is zero.
All right.
This kind of makes me sad, this wine. Because it just,
do you say
it's
that?
good,
Which one?
but it just is like,
The bird.
It
Yeah.
could have been better.
yeah, if we had drank this 3
If you
years
had
ago.
been
Should
greedier,
have drank it. And that's another lesson from this podcast is
and from the movie Sideways.
don't wait too long.
Yeah.
That is one thing. Wine does age in the bottle. It micro-oxygenates through the cork.
It's a whole life cycle inside of there.
Right. So at some point and to say when it is peaking is very subjective, right? People will track this online. You can find websites that talk about specific bottles and producers and when their wines peak. But again, it is kind of subjective. What your palate says is peaking could be completely different from someone else.
My palate says it's way micro-oxygenated already.
That's right. The one thing that I've always been told, and could be a sales tool, but if you find a wine you really, really like, you should buy a case of it or 2 cases of it and have one every year. And you can really tell where it is in its life cycle, and you'll be like, ooh, this is perfect right now. And then you can drink it all or whatever. But this probably was really a lot better
couple
3
years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
I think the reason it makes me sad is it tastes like the past. It tastes like our beginnings with wine, and you can tell it's going away, and we've gotten old.
Theodore.
And it's my high school reunion.
Yeah, this was actually, I should bring this back up. This was one of the first wine experiences that we ever had, where a winemaker took us out for dinner and really gave us a portfolio of their wine. He grabbed a Cab Franc from the vat and brought it with to dinner in a little decanter, and I just remember
the Cab Franc too.
The whole dinner was like, wow, we're having all these great wines, but the Cab Franc from his vat that was like, here, we're gonna try this tonight as it's been not even bottled yet, and it was really just amazing. And texted Jeff that night and was like, Cosentino Cab Franc, do it. And we bought a case of it that in 2007. I still remember this weird date.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, same trip. We went to the next winery,
Oh yeah.
Clos Pegase. I don't think we've talked about this on the show before. Maybe.
Might you
forgive me.
spell that for us, Anne?
Right. CLOS, Clos Pegase, PEGASE, and so it has a horse on it, like a Pegasus.
Yeah.
Whatevs.
Which is a famous piece of art. I can't remember who it starts with an R.
Rembrandt?
Rodin. Does that sound right?
Rodin, probably.
Yeah.
Really?
I think it's from the guy who used to own. I think he's since sold the
Reagan.
winery. Yeah, Reagan, the great artist.
Reagan.
So this was the logo is from a piece from his private collection.
Check. Rodin's like the French sculpturist.
Huh? Look it up.
Okay.
Does anybody have the intranet?
I know it's not
I thought the
Renoir.
first rule of our show was whatever.
Yeah, you know what? Whatever. It's a cool label.
Yeah, whatever. It's got a horse. It's pretty. We like it.
Of the
Shut up.
taglines we've come up with was whatever and we
Don't
spit, we swallow. So
Those are
it's
pretty
been-
good.
Classy show. Scott is like rolling over in his grave and he's still living.
Yeah.
It's like
And it's funny because I'm going to be cremated.
You might just set yourself on fire by the end of this podcast.
so
Second rule of Wine Wars podcast is apparently don't prepare because it's a waste of time.
Why would you? But so Clos Pegase is another. This is in the Carneros area of Napa Valley, and it's what's cool about this is it's an estate vineyard, so they own their vineyards and they produce their wines from their grapes. So a lot of times people are buying just grapes from all these different vineyards all over the place,
Kind
and
of
then
like a
making
co-op.
Yeah. Whereas this is estate bottled, estate made, and we've met the winemaker in the year 2015. We've met the winemaker a few times, and I think this one is before his era there. But the cool part about the winery when we were there in 2007 was that he has a huge collection of art, and so you'd walk into this tasting room and there's just this beautiful, cool kind of, I would say, modern art all over the place. And if you're ever in Napa, you should definitely go. But I believe he has sold, or if not sold, like donated all the art to something.
The coolest thing was in the tasting room itself is this enormous, like an anvil, I'd say, hanging from the ceiling, pretty low, and it's huge, heavy looking. Like, what was the show?
Looks
the Bugs Bunny show, Roadrunner show. It looks like it's gonna fall on you and kill you, and it's sort of edgy way to taste wine, and it's also a beautiful piece
Like
of art.
standing under the anvil.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's like a
kinda
chandelier,
creepy.
but it's just
It's not lit. It's a big, heavy piece of metal.
or at least it looks like a
From
big
a
piece of
huge
metal.
Right.
chain.
Yeah.
I remember
It's
that.
very
distinct-
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome if it was just made out of styrofoam, painted really well, like a
It
movie
probably
prop?
could
It
be.
totally could have
Yeah.
been.
You know, just for like insurance purposes.
Yeah, really.
But really, wouldn't? Yeah, it would be kind of thrilling.
Actually, you're probably right. What kind of ceiling could...
Why did I just ruin the magic? I'm sorry.
Not Amy.
I'm such a
The-
killjoy.
The other cool part about their vineyard winery is that they have these caves that are built into a volcano, and they just go super deep. And there's a stage in there that's all lit up. I instantly was like, "Oh, this would be a great place for a music video." But that's where they I think that's where they cellar most of their wine. But it
In a volcano.
It's an
cave.
extinct old...
Just built in.
into a
But it's
hill,
still-
basically, at this
Yeah.
point.
In a volcano.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's art everywhere.
pretty rad.
That was the place, and I know I've said this before, but that was our first wine trip, and we were early in our wine careers. But that place in particular, they also had sculptures out in the vineyards themselves, like
Aw.
a tipsy man. I will put that on the website. The tipsy man guy out in
Yeah.
the vineyard, and where I kind of drew the connection between wine and art, and just this in general this love of life, kind of slow down, enjoy life thing came home so clearly at this particular vineyard. And they also make an awesome Pinot,
Yeah.
which I recommend too. This Merlot is great.
This is a great Merlot, and it was a really pretty good value. So I bought a bunch of it recently, but this is from the Mitsuko's vineyard. So there's 4 main vineyards that they have, and I think Mitsuko is the wife. And so she has a vineyard, and it's really hilly, and there's lots of different microclimates. So they tested they have a bunch of different varietals there, but they figured out that it was really good for Merlot. So this is from that vineyard, and this is what a Merlot in my brain
California
is. Yeah,
Merlot.
California. It's velvety. It's well balanced.
It is quite different from the Krug or Krug. Krug?
Krug.
Krug. I could be wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah, first rule. Whatever. For me, this is a lot brighter. Like the Krug is a little muted in the scent. It's got a lot more of that spice and clove and things like this. This one's got the California jam to it.
What's weird is on the nose, maybe on my palate, like this is way more round. Am I crazy?
No, I think that's
What?
right.
Wait, what?
The other one was
I just heard somebody spit.
structured
Nope,
and sharp.
I didn't spit. I
where
just
this is round.
swapped vessels.
And I also am getting lavender, a little bit of floral lavender. It's pretty. It's a pretty
Yeah,
wine.
it's softer. The Krug oak is still quite prevalent on it, but this one it's because of the age on it. Maybe it's calmed down a bit, mellowed out a bit. Yeah.
To me, I'm getting
A little bit easier.
like a mellow raspberry without all the tart in the back of the throat.
This wine's a lady. Mm-hmm. Can somebody sing that song?
Once, twice,
Oh, I thought
3 times a late. Is that the one?
I thought you were going.
Dude looks like a lady.
Once there was this kid who
Oh yeah,
That
bought
is-
into an elephant and whatever it is.
That's
That
actually
is not it.
Are you sure?
that's actually a phenomenally produced album.
Oh yeah.
God shuffled
Crash
his
Test
feet.
Dummies.
Yeah, that's a great album. Listeners should go out and find it.
Who was the
for free.
producer on that?
I don't know off the top of my head, man.
He
Great.
just knows that it was great.
Yeah, I've listened to it a bunch. It's a great sounding
That was a
album.
great
I
song.
mean, that's a great song, and that was such a weird thing at the time.
It
that,
was.
that dude with this big baritone voice. It's like, wow, that is outside of this 80s
Would
kind
you
of.
say that was like 1995?
Yeah, in the height of the alternative music explosion.
That's
Are you
like-
sure that was 1995?
Yeah, it was like
Mid 90s,
Whoa.
Perry Farrell and Tori Amos and
93.
93?
Wow, that makes more
Oh.
sense to me.
yeah.
Well-
gosh.
Once there was this kid
That got famous back when music videos were still on MTV. Because I remember the music video. It was like
right
a
around,
play.
Yeah.
Black
the
Hole
kids.
Sun.
Yeah, they were like the
Yeah,
pit orchestra for
Soundgarden.
it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Those were the days, people.
Yeah. Remember
That's
when
what they're
videos
probably
could be
playing at
super
my
awesome?
reunion right now.
they're like,
Crushed it.
They're probably playing
is that
Maroon
Spectator out
5.
there? Because once there was this kid who...
Shoveled all the snow off the sidewalk and his sister fell and broke her back.
That's a true story.
too soon?
True stories from Alaska.
Jerry Harrison was the producer.
Ah.
I'll see if I can figure out
Never
what.
heard of them.
But yeah, super great clarity on that. It's a great sounding album.
If I could state the obvious,
Holy
I think
shit,
this
he was born in Milwaukee.
concludes the Merlot portion of the Seafood
Merlot-ing.
podcast.
Wine news.
This week in wine news, this is actually current news. I think that's
First?
first is actually
Well,
news.
this probably isn't coming out for a month, so it's not going to be
All right,
current
well,
then.
this week in old news is the fact that Champagne and Burgundy, the two regions in France, were just granted World Heritage Sites by the United Nations UNESCO status. And so what that means is that the UNESCO brand is put on things that have some kind of important world heritage, historical significance. And the fact that they chose Champagne and Burgundy is just a nod to what historically is important about those places. And for Champagne, obviously, it is about the method of developing sparkling wine and recognizing specifically this period between 17th century to the 19th century, which is exactly, if you haven't listened to the Bubbles episode,
Go take a listen.
take a listen. Listen to Amy explain dégorgement or whatever the hell.
Degorgement,
Or watch me explain it.
Yeah, we're on Vine, too, if
Yeah.
anyone vines.
That's a vine you're going to want to see.
I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't been declared a World Heritage Site.
Sooner?
Yeah. It's like, really? 2015 and we're just getting around to protecting the place that created Champagne
Yeah.
from becoming a bunch of fucking condominiums?
It is kind of funny. Well, I think it might be protected from that already, but there is sort of money that comes along with it in terms of
Oh, well, we like that.
protection and also advertisement for tourism. But I didn't
Sure.
realize this. France is already the most visited country. The highest number of tourists go to France than any country in the entire world every year.
Well, no wonder they're
makes sense.
grumpy. They got a lot of,
That would be
out
annoying.
of towners. Like, look how we feel every time that, like, summer ends and all the students come back into town and they don't
God,
know
I
where the
hate
hell
them.
to drive and all the one-way streets around the Capitol. And they're just like, yeah. But we love our students. Thanks for the economy boost. Woo!
Sorry about your funding.
We'll miss you after a university shuts down.
Right.
But there's 41 World Heritage Sites already in France, and among them are, and I think this is weird, Saint-Emilion and Bordeaux, but Saint-Emilion
It's
in Bordeaux. So I don't know if it's like double UNESCO'd. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Or
So
maybe
wait, are
they
they
can
saying
take away UNESCO and apply it somewhere else, like to wherever those French cave paintings are.
That is one of them, but it's not.
Okay, well, at least they got around to that.
We were driving between Paris and Bordeaux, and I had no idea that stuff was there. And there's just signs and it was pouring rain. We had two people following us, but I was
reservations in
yeah,
Bordeaux.
reservations.
We had to go.
Had to go, but I was like, I had no idea this was in the middle of this.
Oh,
To see the
Like the first
the
cave
original
paintings,
cave paintings,
right? Aww.
So anyway,
You're like,
that's
"Now I
cool.
got somewhere
and
to
I
be."
say, yeah, congratulations, bravo, France.
Yay!
That's really cool. You totally deserve it.
Well
So
done.
who does that? Who nominates and who?
Yeah, how do we get your basement
elects?
on that
It's-
list?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's the United Nations.
Oh wow.
So it's pretty official. I don't think
Well-
it gets much more official than that.
Well, you could probably talk to somebody.
Do
About
they
our
have
That's a good
the
call.
universe N?
Universe Nations?
Yeah.
All right, that's been Wine Wars for this week. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Wine Wars Podcast. And be sure to visit our website at winewarspodcast.com to review the wines we talked about today. If you want to weigh in on the episode or a future one, or you want to correct anything we said today, email us at winewarspodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to check us out on Vine,
Twitter.
and also Twitter, Facebook,
We're also on Friendster. We have a GeoCities website with some
MySpace,
Angel
animated
Fire.
GIFs of a dancing baby. Yeah.
and rate and review us on iTunes.
I have a singing telegram service. You can get us signed up for that. I don't know.
Because we're the podcast who likes to drink.
Another one. We have a third one for the day. Whatever. We don't spit, we swallow. And the podcast who likes to drink.
It's been real, folks. And until next time, remember,
It's
It's just grape juice.